Donald Trump has announced that the media can no longer criticize him, or they will face punishment by potentially losing their license. Again, Trump is threatening to strip networks of their license if anybody in their programming criticizes him. I know so many of you cannot believe this is what we're living through, but here is where we are. This is what a sitting president is commanding. Many of us read Project 2025 cover to cover, and we did our very best to warn people inside our country not to vote for him again. So many people didn't listen. And now it is too late, because we are living in an unprecedented time. And each day is more harmful and damaging than the one before.
Hey guys, we have a wholesale assault on the First Amendment. I'm going to explain the scope of what Trump is trying to do, why it's so wildly illegal, and how it also implicates our right to free and fair elections. Okay, Trump, first of all, is not just trying to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel. He's trying to get rid of any type of comedy that makes fun of him. Parody is obviously protected political speech, and political speech is what's known as a fundamental constitutional right. It is the highest right known in the entire American legal system. Additionally, it's not just comedy. Today in Air Force One, he told Caitlin Collins of CNN that he wants to basically get rid of any news organization that is critical of him. He literally said that, okay? I'm putting it right here. Now, that is what's known as a content-based prior restraint on speech. It has never been found to be illegal. It has always been struck down every time the government has tried to do that in the past. And on top of that, the reason we have freedom of the press in the First Amendment, the Supreme Court has explained repeatedly, is so that voters can get accurate information to make informed voting decisions. So not only would you be getting rid of, freedom of the press and freedom of speech, you're basically eviscerating our right to free and fair elections. Free elections and freedom of speech are the core rights that allow us to call ourselves Americans. We are in a very dark place as they try to get rid of this. Stand up to it. Don't take it.
Family, Donald Trump has announced that the media should never criticize him. He says that he'll banish any media outlet that wants to criticize him as the President of the United States of America. He says that he'll revoke the licenses of these media houses that want to criticize him. And that has sparked a lot of questions online. And myself, I'm wondering if that is the president of a country speaking the way he's speaking. That is fascism right there. That is dictatorship. There is no way a president would never want to be criticized. You are holding a public office. How is somebody holding a public office not open to criticism? That just shows us the extent that Donald Trump wants to go with his dictatorship, with his fascism. And family, that is unacceptable. Many white folks have come out to call out the act by the president. They are saying that that is not respecting the Constitution, the very First Amendment, which gives people an opportunity to express themselves, including the media. So when he says that he does not want to be criticized, this is just sparking a lot of conversations, and people are wondering what is happening in America. What direction does the president want to take in regards to his leadership? So family, I want you to watch this video as many Americans complain with this new order by the president. Once the video is done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. And family, in a special way, I'd like to thank my subscribers who have supported this channel by buying me a coffee. I do not take your support for granted. The link to buying a coffee is on the description box down below. Let's watch this video, then we'll be right back.
Breaking news. Donald Trump just said on Air Force One that media organizations cannot criticize him. What? That, yes, media organizations cannot criticize him. They cannot say anything about him he doesn't like, in effect. They don't have the First Amendment right. And he basically says that since they're licensed, The FCC, that gives him as president the right to dictate what they can say. Donald Trump, I don't know what country you think you're in, but you're not in that country. The United States is not a dictatorship controlled by you at this point. It is still a democracy. We have a constitution. And under our constitution, under the First Amendment, we have a right to freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. You cannot take that away because you don't like people criticizing you. Then perhaps you shouldn't do things to be criticized about, and I bet they won't criticize you. It's amazing how that works. So you don't have the right that you think you do, and because you've done this right now with Jimmy Kimmel, not going to work. Not going to work. Stephen Colbert, not going to work. The American people won't stand for this. Those that are MAGAs with those burned out light bulbs, they may not be able to see what's going on, but the rest of us do. And by the way, there will be an election next week in Arizona 7 congressional district. And that's going to give us a 218th signature to bring the Epstein files to be released on the floor of the House of Representatives. See how that works. And we will be talking about Epstein in the future. Love to hear from my Democrats and my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, my burned out light bulbs. And if you're in Arizona 7, make sure you vote for freedom, for the signature on the discharge petition for the FBI to release all of the Epstein files unredacted. Period.
In the words of Jimmy Kimmel, Donald Trump needs to determine if he's a dictator or a dick, because he just told reporters on Air Force One that network television, network providers cannot criticize him. He was going off about late night TV hosts and how all they do is dog on Donald Trump, and that's wrong. He'll have the FCC investigate networks that allow their late night programs to do this. Why? Because there's no conservative late night TV hosts, and he says that's illegal. But here's the news flash, Donnie Trump. Just because you have the skin thickness of a rotten grape doesn't mean it's illegal. The First Amendment to the Constitution literally allows anybody to say anything they want criticizing the president or the government as a whole. It doesn't matter that it upsets you, Donnie. What matters is we're legally allowed to say you look like a 3 times too large Oompa Loompa with a bad spray tan. So what should we do? Continue to criticize the geriatric skinned president because his ego can't handle it, and this might expedite things along their course. But as for the major media networks, I fully believe they brought this upon themselves every time they settled for millions of dollars when Donald Trump brought up some superfluous lawsuit. It only emboldened him to continue to act like this. And while we should support their First Amendment right to say whatever they want about the president, we also need to make sure that we're supporting independent journalists and content creators. Almost everybody in that realm has a link in their bio where you can support them directly. And you should really consider doing it. Otherwise, if you can't afford to, like, share, comment on all of the stories that you can. Help out the people who are bringing you the information unfiltered.
The Tangerine Tyrant finally said it out loud. You can't criticize him if you're in the media without facing consequences. And if you're in Congress, you should probably remember this little thing called the Constitution. Yeah, this one right here. Because there's a First Amendment in there that says you can't make a law abridging freedom of speech or of the press. Yeah, it's right there in the first one. So on his way back from the UK on Air Force One, Trumpelstiltskin over there said, these companies, they can't criticize me. They have to be nice to me or they're going to face the consequences. Well, First Amendment, he can say whatever the frick he wants. But now what I'm getting into is with Congress, if they try to pass laws criminalizing hate speech or banning the criticism of Trumpelstiltskin, that is a violation of our First Amendment rights. Let me read that First Amendment for you so you understand. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, that's the freedom of religion part of it, or abridging the freedom of speech, oh, that one's important, or of the press, oh, there's another one, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble, stay peaceful, y'all,
and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That means the government has to listen to our complaints. It's right there in the First Amendment, right there. I highly recommend you get yourself a copy. It's really handy dandy. It would be nice if some of our Congress members got this, as well as the Supreme Court. You know, I don't know, if somebody could just slide Donnie a copy of this, maybe with pictures to help him, might be in a better place.
It is really getting scary, guys. Donald Trump on his way home from London on Air Force One was talking to the press where he said that 97% of the late night shows only talk bad about him and that there has never been, and I quote, or is no longer any conservative late night shows. And since they get federal licensing to have these shows on networks that broadcast, therefore, that is illegal. They can't do that. They can't talk bad about me. Once again, the commander in fillings is in his feelings. And he is literally saying that all of these shows, all of these networks had better capitulate to him, or those licenses are going to be revoked. And as we've already seen in the case of Jimmy Kimmel, you don't even need the government to do this. These big corporations are already self-regulating themselves to comply with whatever the commander-in-chief says, because they are absolutely terrified of losing their multi-billion-dollar deals. In fact, one of the affiliates of ABC is currently trying to finish a $6 billion deal where they will swallow up over 50% of all of the TV networks in America, which is blatantly illegal as it currently stands. No corporation can have more than 34% of all broadcasts that would reach American households. This is to protect a democracy and to protect from monopolies and a unified dictatorial message coming out. And now they are doing whatever Trump says. They're doing it. They're getting rid of any opposition to Donald Trump off these networks, and they are going full-blown MAGA now, even holding tributes to MAGA great Charlie Kirk. And that's where we're at, guys. If you think these institutions are going to fight for us, they will be the first ones to turn around and turn us in or hand us over to the government. They will save themselves because remember, they are a part of the elite, and that is who Donald Trump is for. He is not for the average everyday you and me. He is not even for MAGA. He literally said smart people don't like me, implying the people that voted for him are dumb. Then this isn't the first time that he said this. So guys, follow us for more. Follow us on the Substack. It is getting very serious. We're going to do a bigger breakdown of this whole thing over there on Substack. You're going to want to be over there to check that out. We appreciate your support. And guys, stay strong. Do not capitulate. Keep speaking truth to power.
Trump told reporters today on Air Force One that media companies can't criticize him, and if they do, they could face consequences for that. Gee, sounds like a full-on assault on free speech to me. What do you guys think? This is totally wrong. Media companies can criticize him. He's a public figure. He's the president of the United States. People can say whatever the fuck they want about him. And here we go, Trump. Fuck you. FDT. Like, you suck. The economy's in the shitter. You haven't released the Epstein files. You haven't ended any wars like you say you have. And we're going down the tubes with this country. And you're canceling comedy now. Everyone fucking hates you. Well, maybe not everyone. And I'm sorry, if you support this guy, it is what it is. Now, getting Jimmy Kimmel canceled is even a line too far for some Republicans who are now starting to turn against him. And they know that Democrats are likely to win in the midterms. And so far, every special election that's happened, Democrats are overperforming. They can see this. Everything's in the dumpster under Trump for Americans, and he's losing support left and right. And he thinks canceling Jimmy Kimmel will keep him silenced? No. There's plenty of people that want to work with him. He is actually very talented. He's got the best writing team on the planet. And he will end up somewhere else. And to be honest, he deserves a network better than ABC, who just cast him aside over this veiled threat by the FCC chair. So Kimmel will be back soon. And the key mistake Trump is making here is that he thinks he can control the media and silence all his critics.
But the truth is, there are so many media outlets right now, so many social media platforms where people can go speak what they think and have free speech celebrated and promoted, like Substack. That might be our true free speech platform right now. If you haven't subscribed or followed me there yet, go do it now. Link is in the bio. Let me know what you think about all this. Comment, like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
So Donald Trump has got to be one of the most, if not the most hypocritical person ever on this planet. Because he said earlier today that government regulators should consider shutting down networks that criticize his administration. Let me just tell y'all that the first 15 days of Trump's second term, he blamed Biden 316 times. He can't admit anything he does wrong. He just says everything's a hoax and made up and it's a lie. He didn't feel sorry for Biden when he was diagnosed with cancer. It was Biden's fault for Trump imposing tariffs on all these countries. It was Biden's fault that stocks tanked, even though the only reason for stocks tanking was because of the tariffs. It was Biden's fault for illegal immigration, even though Trump later admitted that Joe Biden was not for open borders. It was Biden's fault that Russia invaded Ukraine. It's Biden's fault that Iran is rich and has money again. He always makes fun of his stuttering, even though you can't help it when you have a stutter. It's Biden's fault that Epstein is a pedo, and he accused Biden of canceling an order for new air traffic control equipment, even though all these airports and flights are getting delayed because of blackouts in air traffic control. It's Joe Biden's fault for inflation. He accused Democrats of making up the Epstein files, even though it was proven Jeffrey Epstein is a pedophile. And he's denying signature on Jeffrey Epstein's birthday card that he made for him and saying that's not his signature, even though his signature is exactly the same. Those are just some of the things that Trump has blamed Biden for. But 316 times Trump blamed Biden in his first 15 days of office. So if Trump doesn't like his administration and him being made fun of, then he can't be going after Biden and Democrats. Now you know how it feels. You don't like it? And the only reason that you want Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, and Stephen Colbert canceled is because they're Democrats and they don't like you, so they make fun of you. But if we're going to be real, the only shows that should be canceled are Fox News and Fox and Friends, because the stuff that Fox News says is way worse compared to the jokes that the 4 late night hosts say. So if you really don't want your administration to be made fun of, then stop making fun of other administrations and denying shit and never admitting when you're wrong.
President Donald Trump has just stated that as of right now, the media can no longer criticize him. Yes, you heard it correctly. He said nobody from the media can talk down on his name. And if any media outlet does criticize him, said something that he doesn't like, there will be some severe punishments that will be coming after the criticizing. Trump stated this, check this out. When you have a network and you have evening shows, Trump has stated that all the networks are doing right now is hating on his name and that needs to be changed ASAP. So any media organization or late night TV shows or anything, like maybe even comedians, are not allowed to criticize him anymore. But you guys are aware that they do have the right to do whatever they want and say whatever they want. But Trump has stated, I don't care. And he stated that he will do everything in his power to get your show canceled, or he will come and sue. Let me know what you guys think about all this down below in the comments. And like always, don't forget to follow for more viral news. Ciao, pescado.
Trump's now saying that news outlets aren't allowed to criticize him if they want to keep their broadcast licenses. And saying of the networks they're getting a license, I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It will be up to Brendan Carr. But with many saying that's a tyrannical thing to even suggest, threaten, or say, and it should be taken as a declaration of war on free speech and the free press. Right, and this comes after Trump's FCC pressured to get Jimmy Kimmel's show canceled. You've even got Russians who are in exile here in America, Canada, and across Europe all giving dire warnings to Americans right now. Right, they're basically screaming to Americans that this is exactly what Putin Putin did. He forced the comedians off the air, then he came for the news, movies, TV shows until he controlled the media, and now no one hears a negative thing about Putin. Right? And because Putin controls the media, he can basically do whatever he wants, like rig elections and disappear critics, because who's gonna know? And you're seeing more and more people saying America, the land of the free, supposedly, is under attack by Trump, who's trying to do the same thing. With that, I say, listen, like, this is not about Democrats versus Republicans, or at the very least it shouldn't be, and that's how, unfortunately, a lot of people are framing it. But if he's going down this road, that's Trump using party divisions to keep us divided while he ends up chaining us both. This is about the government versus the people and our right to free speech. All while, like, if you just want a taste of how stupid and grim our situation is, there's now a gold statue of Trump on the National Mall. Right now, I think the most effective thing you can do is tell your friends, your families, your coworkers, your neighbors, anyone who will listen about what's happening. People need to know about what looks like an attempt to strip us of our rights. Most people have no idea or don't truly understand where this is going to go. But hey, for now, while you still can, follow to stay in the loop.
Well, Donnie's getting really close to being this. Supreme Leader Donald Trump. So, this is why I say that, because he was on Air Force One coming back from the UK, and this is what he had to say. Crying about not having a conservative on late night talk show, and all they do is hit little Trump. All they do is make fun of me, you fucking bitch-ass Trump. And he says they are not allowed to do that. They are licensed. They're not allowed to do that. So welcome to North Korea, folks. We have state-sponsored media. Woo!
Donald Trump just threatened to shut down all media in America that basically isn't Fox News or MAGA. CNN says Trump says because he won the election and TV networks give him wholly bad publicity, he would think maybe their licenses should be taken away. He then praised the guy who got Jimmy Kimmel canceled last night. Donald Trump just gave that's the way the mafia does it, actually. They don't give the order directly. They say, it would be unfortunate if something happened to you, wouldn't it? Donald Trump just told the FCC to take away the broadcast licenses of all of the American media that isn't MAGA, that isn't Fox News, unless they give him better publicity. Folks, what country is this anymore? This isn't America. This isn't the way Americans of Democrat, liberal, Republican, conservative act. This is what you see in bad places in Europe, bad places in history. This is not what you see in America. This is wholly un-American. This is terrifying.
Family, what Donald Trump should know is that if he does not want criticism, then he'd better resign, and stop being the president of America. America is one of the biggest countries in the world, one of the powerhouses in the world, and people do not expect a president of his caliber, to tell the media that they cannot criticize him while you're holding a public office. A public officer must be open to criticism. A public leader must be able to take any criticism that comes his way because he's actually the president. Somebody holding such an office must expect anything from the media and from the citizens because the power belongs to the people. He shouldn't threaten any media outlet for trying to speak, against him, for trying to correct something he's doing wrongly. That right there is what we call the modern day dictatorship, wanting to take control of the media. You want the media to publish whatever you want as the president. How is that even making sense to a normal American? How does a president wake up and say that from today henceforth, there's no criticism, to me? That does not make any sense. America has its constitution that should be upholded. And the very first person that should give the constitution respect and uphold it is the very president of that country. When we see Donald Trump act the way he's acting today, it just brings a lot of questions. That right there is disrespect to the Constitution of the United States of America. That right there is disrespect to the very First Amendment. How would a president say whatever Donald Trump said the other day? That just makes it very, very weird. And that shows us the fascism that is inside the government of the United States of America. The other day, we also saw Attorney General Pam Bondi also speak up and say that she will not allow any person to use hate speech, which is also protected by the First Amendment. How do you not want to be criticized? All these things have come after the death of Charlie Kirk. Many Americans use their platforms, to express themselves. Once he noticed that, the extent that many Americans took to just express themselves and react to the death of Charlie Kirk, most of them criticizing him, that did not sit well with the president. That's why they've started coming up with laws. They just wake up in the morning and decide that from today henceforth, these will be done this way. That is not how our country is run. A country is run by its very constitution. A country is run by the laws that are already set, not the president waking up or the attorney general and deciding that from today henceforth, these will be the new laws in our country. That is not how things are done. And that is what exactly Donald Trump and his cabinet are doing in America today. Project 2025 was one that should have opened the eyes of Americans so widely, because that was fascism right there. There's nothing good about that project. Some people read Project 2025 and still went ahead to vote for Donald Trump as the president of the United States. Right now, everyone is regretting. We'd only get a small percentage of Americans who are in support of this fascist leader. Family, I know right now many folks are tired with the dictatorship that Donald Trump is displaying. It is very, very bad. This is actually an unprecedented times. Nobody saw this coming. Some people actually saw it, but thought that having a white leader in the White House would just do them good. But right now, people are seeing the heaviness that comes with racism. People who chose Donald Trump because of racist ideologies are now seeing that they messed up their own country. Because how does the media get state captured? What is happening today? I've also seen people create memes making Donald Trump's face to look like that of the president of North Korea. Dictatorship right there. Fascism right there. Making decisions that you wonder if they are coming from the president of the United States of America. Family, that is very, very wrong. We also saw the other day the Jimmy Kimmel show, being cancelled by pressure, from the president. I wonder what is happening in America today. An America where the president is afraid of late night shows talking about him. That wasn't even an attack to him directly. Jimmy Kimmel was talking about the perpetrator who allegedly murdered Charlie Kirk. Taylor Robinson, saying that he was MAGA. He came from a Republican family, from a MAGA family. And that did not sit well with Donald Trump. They do not want people to speak openly in their country. A president who listens to late night shows and makes decisions and says that these people should leave that work immediately. You wonder. Look at what they've caused ABC to go through. Right now, ABC is having a lot of losses. People are pulling down, they're canceling, their subscriptions to Disney, because of the pressure that the president mounted on ABC. Right now, people do not care. They'll stop watching it. This company will go and run losses because of a decision that the president wants to push fascism and his dictatorship in America. Donald Trump is actually openly a dictator. How is a sitting president going against the very First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America? That just shows you how he's so greedy. He does not want to be criticized. He wants to rule the way he wants. He does not want to follow the Constitution that he upholded to follow, as he was being sworn in as the President of the United States of America. And family, that is so wrong. That is unacceptable. And family, I'd really wish that many Americans would come boldly and talk against this, because he cannot rule people the way he wants. He must follow the constitution that he swore to follow and uphold as a sitting president. Family, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this move by Donald Trump to stop any media outlets from criticizing him. Family, I'd also appreciate if you like this video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users. Lastly, we are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers. We just hit 30k subs, and family, I do not take your support for granted. It's been an amazing journey, and I really hope that we shall hit our 50k mark. Thank you so much, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.